So in this video, I'm actually going to be showing y'all how to get some dimensions, how to pull some measurements, where these stringer lines connect, where they don't connect, and some of the measurements that are just missing. And well, you got to kind of figure those out. So let's jump into it. Okay, this is one of the foundation plans that we use a lot when we're doing slab training in our training program here. So let's take a look at what we've got. Let's start with this garage wall, this 16 foot 4 inches. And let's look at our tick marks. See that one there? Now this one is pulled to the outside of that garage wall. So it's the outside of the wall. Now when you're doing a slab, you're only going to have form boards, so you would butt your tape up to the front of that form board, and that would be your distance there. Now on the other end here, this tick mark is showing that it's to the inside of the garage wall. You see how those work? So it's from outside to inside to get that 16.4, not inside outside. And this guy here, well, this is the center line of the wall. Sometimes they do that to you. So it's either the outside, the inside, or the center line. And you can look at this and eyeball it and tell where they're going with it. Like these two here. This is actually showing the inside of that little powder bath, that little half bath wall. Those walls are to the inside of it. And now these are to the inside of that garage wall, showing a measurement over to the center line of the toilet and that little pedestal sink there. So let's move on up. Now this 1'9", which is pulled from the outside of the wall to the center line of this wash machine here. Now to get our distance down, because you got to have two distances, you got to have the X and the Y, we got 22 8 inches here. Now let's look and see where that one's going to be pulled from. Okay, kind of tricky, but it's the outside of the wall. And how do I know that? Because of this gap right here on the stove. That stove is going to sit all the way against the wall. So that's an outside wall. How do I know that? Well, here is what the countertop, the main floor plan would look like. You see that full wall behind the stove there? So I know that 22 8 inches is pulled to the outside of the wall. Now let's look at these two dimensions here. What this is trying to give us here is this kitchen sink, but it's actually going to the dishwasher. It's giving us a distance to the center line of the back of the dishwasher. Now, I know, but we want the kitchen sink here. So we got some math to do. We have to figure it out. We have to measure it down. And I know from experience that the rough end opening for a dishwasher like that's about 24 inches. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take half of that, which gives us 12. From experience, I know that your average kitchen sink is about 30 inches wide. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take half of that, which is going to give us 15. Now we have to add those two together, the two halves, to get us on down to where we need to be. So that's going to give us 2'3" inches. And if you see my little ruler there, we're going to have to add that to that 6'11" to get that full distance, which should give us 9'2" inches. So off of the outside wall and down 9'2" inches, and then that 11'9" inches is still going to be correct from the distance over. And that gives us our 2 points to intersect and give us this kitchen sink. Sometimes they do this. Sometimes you really have to just sit back and figure it out on your own. And you might have to ask questions. All right, we'll go up to the top here. This is the upstairs. And this plan is really, it's for training purposes. It's not really a complete livable house. So let's look at this master bath. And what I want to show you here is this one is pulled to the center line of the wall. They're getting kind of weird on you here. And then we have another to the center line of the wall. And then we go on down to the end of this vanity, and it's the center line of the wall. Now that vanity is not an 8'4" vanity top. It's actually smaller because we have to subtract the 3.5 inches, well, actually half of 3.5 inches to get our vanity top. But if we take it off of both sides, we're going to be taking off a total of 3.5 inches from that 8'4" there. And that'll get us that width of the, or length of the vanity there, which is 8'1/2". So to make our math a little bit easier, we're going to go ahead and convert this over to 96.5 inches. That way, because we need to figure out where those sinks are going. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the center line of this double vanity here, which we'll just take half of that 96.5 inches, which should give us 48.25. Now we want the centers of those vanities, so we're going to half it again to get to the back side of these vanities. And now that's where our plumbing's going to go. So we're going to pull off of the inside of the wall, because we already took our 3.5 out, 24 1/8 of an inch. And that gets us to the center of the vanity. Now we can be off a little to the left or right, and it's not going to matter that much. But that was how you would calculate out your vanity. All right, let's look at some other things. All right, so we got this little water closet here with this shower and this toilet that we're going to try to lay out next. And they've given us a dimension here of 7'5". Now, if you look at your little tick marks, this one here is going to be the center line of the wall. That's the middle of the wall. And this one up here is going to be pulled to the outside of the exterior wall. So we're going to have to do a little bit of math here to figure out exactly where this toilet is going to go. Now, a toilet has to have at least 15 inches on either side. 15 inches of clearance, that's the code. So we're going to try to put this toilet in the center of this room in between this shower and the wall. Now, this shower, you're going to have to look at your spec sheets and figure out your dimensions, because they come in a variety of sizes. But if this was one that we stock and that we use, it's going to be a 4-foot shower, which is 34 inches deep. Some showers are 36 inches deep, but I know that this one, if it's our stock shower, it's 34 inches deep. So we're going to take this 7'5" and we're going to convert it into 89 inches to make the math a little bit easier. We can switch it back later if we want to. And then we're going to have to take this wall, this dimension here, which 2x4 wall is going to be 3.5 inches rough in. So we're going to have to subtract that 3.5 inches from the 89 to get us to that interior rough in wall, which is 85.5 inches. Now we got to figure out this one. This is going to be half of that 2x4 wall. So it's going to be 1 3/4 inches. And we're going to take that away from that 85.5, giving us 83 3/4 inches. Y'all following me? So we're going to take that and we're going to subtract out our shower, which I told you was 34 inches deep there, giving us 49 3/4 inches. Now, what we have to do to figure out our toilet, because we want our toilet in the center of that cavity, in between that wall and in between that shower, or it's not going to look right. So we take the 49 3/4 inches for this toilet, and we're going to cut that in half, which is going to give us 24 7/8 on either side. Now, when we're pulling our tape measure, we're going to pull off this wall, the 24 7/8 to get our center, and then, of course, we'll set it at 13 inches off the wall for our toilet flange. But that's pretty much it. I think we covered the major fixtures. I do have 2 more of these plans that fit in this same box, which would be the form boards. It's all this 37 and 11 inches wide. And I will probably do something on those so we can look at some more measurements, but I think that's going to be it for this one. Thanks a lot, guys. I hope you learned something. You can always go back and you can pause this and check my math if you want to.